Hey guys, what's up? Summer11 here with my discussion on Bleach Chapter 669, Yaiba II. This is on the characters Kenpachi and Yachiru. There will be no manga panels used for this video as that can get the video taken down. I'll just be using images for the anime. I hope that's okay. And I will also say the plot points that I'm referencing so you can keep up by using the Bleach wiki page on any characters that I'm mentioning in this video. So, Kenpachi is a character that many love in the Bleach community. He's strong, loves to fight, and just jumps into battle. In Bleach Chapter 669, Yachiru gives Kenpachi the power of Bankai, or for the sake of this video, shows him what was already there. As a kid, Kenpachi found an Asauchi from a dead Soul Reaper and made his own sword from it. He became good with the sword and killed many opponents. Well, until he met Anohana, who gave him the scar on the left side of his face. But during this fight, Kenpachi sealed his power off, and well, he lost the fight. I think this is very interesting from a writing perspective, a character sealing off his own power to fight longer. But is it possible that he sealed off the ability to use things like Shikai and Bankai? Let's take a closer look and find out. History is important and it's related to his power. Kenpachi is older now and a young man. He finds a girl without a name who is not bothered by him just killing some people. He tells her that the sword is dangerous, but she reaches out for it anyway and smiles. He then names the girl after Anohana and adopts her. Some people think that Yachiru is related to Kenpachi's sword or his power in a way, and this is mainly due to some weird things that happened in the 1,000-year Blood War arc, and also the thing that I just mentioned about her touching the sword and everything. Now, I will be exploring, I believe, 4 different points in the story that lead me to believe that Yachiru is connected to Kenpachi's Bankai. So, number 1, Kenpachi versus Anohana and the voice of Nozarashi. During this arc, Kenpachi is defeated by Yuha and later trained by Anohana. During this fight, Anohana is constantly defeating Kenpachi and then healing him, slowly undoing the shackles on his power. She eventually uses her Bankai, which to this day we really don't know what it did, but it gave her a different sword, so I guess that's cool. And perhaps her Bankai helped him unlock some powers we don't really know, but eventually Kenpachi ends up harming Anohana. He ends up harming her fatally, and he begs her not to die. Good job. Great advice, man. I mean, you just killed someone. You're just like, don't die on me. And I'm surprised that she didn't heal herself at this point, but maybe she couldn't. So she ends up dying, and he hears a voice calling out to him. It's his Zanpakuto. It's Nozarashi. So, based on what happened, we can assume that this fight helped him undo the shackles on his power and allowed him to be able to hear his Zanpakuto, because I'm guessing like him sealing off his power made something happen to where he couldn't hear Nozarashi talking to him, so he didn't know the name of his Zanpakuto, so he couldn't transform it further. So yeah, moving on to number 2, Yachiru versus Grimmy and Kenpachi's arrival. Later in the war, Yachiru is fighting Grimmy. Yachiru, a character that is thought to be related to Kenpachi's power, uses a Shikai in this fight. Her Shikai creates 2 creatures, allowing her attacks to become hard to dodge. Since there's 3 of them, you have 3 people. Well, you have her and those 2 monsters attacking you. It's kind of hard to dodge all those attacks at once. And I saw a comment mentioning how one of the creatures has a weapon that looks like a cleaver, but on the wiki it describes it as a dagger. I just thought that would be cool to throw in, whether it's relevant to this theory or not. So Grimmy turns Yachiru's bones into cookies, and then Kenpachi later arrives after feeling Yachiru's Ryatsu weakening. Moving on to number 3, Nozarashi's Shikai. At this point, Grimmy is about to drop a meteor on Soul Society, so Kenpachi releases Nozarashi and cuts the meteor in half. Nozarashi is a huge cleaver. It's a weapon that fits Kenpachi's character. And at some point he unlocked his power, and it had to have been during his fight with Anohana. After Kenpachi defeats Grimmy, or Grimmy defeats himself as he imagines his own defeat. I'm Not sure why he couldn't imagine some confidence, but anyways, Yachiru is gone after Nozarashi has been unleashed, and her badge and her uniform are the only thing that remain there. Now, this is where things start to get freaky, folks. Yachiru disappears once Nozarashi is used. She has to be related to the sword in some way. It's pretty obvious. Moving on to the fourth and final point, Nozarashi's Bankai. Kenpachi doesn't really unlock Bankai like any of the other characters. He kind of just uses it, or in a way it's just given to him. But I'll get into that once I'm done with this point. I think I have a really good theory with this one. Anyways, Yachiru, who disappeared and hasn't been seen since the fight with Grimmy, returns to Kenpachi's side after he is down with his fight, after his fight with Gerard. And we can't really see what Nozarashi's state is at this point. But Yachiru says, "Silly goose, if you would just use me properly." Let me start over. "Silly goose, if you would just use me properly, giggity, there wouldn't be anyone you wouldn't be able to cut down, Kin-chan." Yachiru grabs Kenpachi's finger and his hand starts to light up. She tells him that this power is Bankai. And at this point, I discussed most of this in my review. Like, basically, I discussed the chapter, so if you want to go watch that review and come back to this video, you can do that, or, just kind of move on with this video. But his Bankai turns his skin red, it makes Nozarashi smaller, and it gives him even more power, allowing him to seemingly cut Gerard in half. We don't really know. That's kind of how the chapter ended off. Now, finally, what you've all been waiting for, Kenpachi already having Bankai. The point of this video, why you came here, the title and everything. Kenpachi already had Bankai. Kenpachi is one of the strongest characters in Bleach, as Onohana stated that she was weaker than him while he was still a child, and his sealed power is as strong as Byakuya. Kenpachi always had a Bankai. Bankai requires you to summon your sword spirit into the real world. But what if Kenpachi did that and has constantly been doing that? Kenpachi discovered Yachiru as a child. I used the anime for reference for this, but the way it was said, it seemed like she lived before he discovered her. But what if this backstory was fabricated, or he manifested the spirit of his Zanpakuto and didn't notice it, leaving the spirit to wander on its own? He later discovers this spirit, and they become friends/family. And wouldn't it be an interesting plot twist that Kenpachi was able to make his spirit into a living being? What if Nozarashi wasn't the full name of his sword, and calling out the full name would allow him to be able to be in less of a mindless state in his Bankai form? Basically being able to control his Bankai. Because, right now, he's just going crazy, and we don't know if he's going to, attack other people or anything, because it seems like he's in a mindless state. But if he knows the full name of his Zanpakuto, maybe he won't be so crazy, and maybe he will have even more powers with his sword, but we don't know. I think Kenpachi unlocked his Bankai as a child, but never noticed it, and later he met Yachiru, aka Nozarashi, and he still didn't know his sword's name until later via help from Unohana. The final point leading me to believe that Yachiru is Kenpachi's sword is her line from the latest chapter about using her. She has to be a sword. It only makes sense. With Bleach winding down, will all the characters be able to get development and show off their new powers? I kind of apologize for all the rushing while I'm reading or whatever, but yeah, it's not too much of a big deal. Anyways, that's it from me. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you like my content and want to see more, be sure to subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and like me on Facebook. The links are below. I'm Summer11. See you next time, and peace out.